Well, I'm feeling no shame starting this reaction series. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host, Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 1 of Shameless. Specifically the US version, because apparently this was a show in the UK originally, and this is I guess you could say, remake of that show. It's kind of like The Office in that regard. Um, so what do I know about this? Well, this is a series that I have heard about, and I have seen a very specific clip from on TikTok, like over and over. I'll randomly be scrolling through TikTok and just suddenly come upon this clip every so often. It just keeps popping up. I don't know the context behind everything, but this one like teenage boy goes to this house. The I guess father of this girl who lives there answers, and the boy tells him, it's like, oh, your daughter's at like this college party, here's a picture and everything. um and it like skips ahead. I don't know if that's how it happens in the show, but the boy is then at the house again. The girl answers and she's upset because she got grounded and everything, but the dad comes to the door, and he's the one that the boy is actually there for. They're hanging out now and have become friends because I guess he earned the father's trust through helping him, find out about what was going on with the daughter. So, yeah, really interesting little screen or a little clip there that I just keep seeing over and over again. Again, I don't know the context behind it. I don't know, like, who these characters are outside of this. I don't know anything outside of just having seen this clip out of context many times. And it's possible I've seen other clips from this series out of context. I just don't know if they were from this series. Because I'll scroll through TikTok a lot and I'll just see random clips from shows and movies. And some of them might have been from Shameless. It's possible. Um, but yeah. Excuse me. I've been yawning a lot today. I don't know why. I got plenty of sleep. Anyway. So yeah. This is a donation reward, though, for Venom. And it's taking over the spot of Free, Dive to the Future, in case anyone was wondering, because I was just not enjoying season 3 of Free at all. It was getting to the point where I could not bring myself to find motivation to want to react to it. And so I made the judgment call. It's like, I'm not enjoying this at all. There's too many issues that I'm having with it. So as much as I enjoyed seasons 1 and 2, I had to move on from that. This series, though, has like, I think 11 seasons, which is like, Jesus, that's almost as much as Supernatural. Um, I have no idea how this series is going to be for me. Um, I have heard that this series does touch on a lot of like very real issues that you see in real life, such as queer issues and race issues and whatnot. Um, and so I'm interested to see how it touches on those kind of topics. I don't know who's in this outside of, again, those actors I saw in that one clip I keep seeing, but I don't even know who those two actors are. So it's like I don't know if there's anyone in this that I do know. Um, yeah, I haven't really heard much of anything other than people just like saying that they like this show. Like I don't really hear like a lot of details. I don't see spoilers unless, again, there's like clips on TikTok that I don't realize are from this show. But I don't know what to expect going into this. Hopefully, though, I do enjoy it. I also don't know how many episodes there are per season. I could check here real quick. We are going to be reacting to this off of Netflix, um, because even though we've had some issues with reacting to stuff off of Netflix lately. Um, Specifically in regards to like lag issues and whatnot. Uh, I couldn't find a downloadable version to use. It looks like it's 12 episodes at least for season one. Okay. So at least for season one, there's 12 episodes. I don't know if it's consistent the entire run, but yeah. So there's that. Also, the episodes are hour length. It is one of those shows that that it is longer episodes for, and so taking that into account as well. Hopefully, this isn't one of those shows that is difficult to watch. Because if it is, there might be breaks during the season, and there might be breaks anyways, just because hour long series, 12 episodes, is gonna be a slog to get through just because of that. Even if the series is really good and entertaining, it's just like that's just a lot. Um, at least for someone like me. um, and I guess part of that just comes down to just because we have everything else on the schedule too. It's just like so much. Although, although you are seeing this today and everything, and just as I guess a reminder for everyone that the schedule is slightly changing starting next week. Starting next week, the donation reward shows, which are currently Shameless and Undead Unluck, will be on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. Um, it's basically Wednesday and Thursday are switching, as are Monday and Tuesday. Friday's staying the same. But yeah, so the donation rewards will be on Thursdays, and so they'll just be alone instead of joined with the weekly stream. The stream is remaining on Wednesdays, but that's going to be accompanied by Tangled, the series now. So yeah, and then I put up a video explaining all the changes that are going to happen to the schedule, so you can find that on the channel. I think I put it up last week. Check it out if you haven't. But yeah, so it's just going to be changing by one day starting next week, but the fact that it's not going to be accompanied by the stream on the same day is probably going to help. But we'll see. We'll see, because it could still end up being quite a lot to handle. Just depends on how the series goes, too. Like I said, I don't really know much about this. That one clip really isn't enough to tell me anything. So, yeah. I'm interested to see what this is like. I'm interested to see what we have in store for this. And hopefully it ends up being really good. I guess we'll find out. So, that all being said, we're just going to get right on this and hope for the best. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, like I said, I went into this not really knowing what to expect at all because I had just seen the one clip, and you can't really get a good feeling for a show or a movie or whatever based on a single clip. A lot of times it might tell you like maybe the tone that the series is going for, but not really much else. And so I didn't really have a lot to work off of. And I didn't know like anything about like what the plot of this was about or about characters or anything really. So going into this almost completely blind, I'll say like right off the bat is that it surprised me. And I think the kind of tone of it is part of what surprised me the most, because a lot of these like live action hour long dramas, I guess you would call them, tend to be very serious, and a lot of times the pacing of the episodes can drag a little bit because of that. Even if they're a really good show, it's like sometimes it can feel a little slow. It can feel like it's hard to sit through, and I've kind of talked about that in um, previous reactions and series and stuff, where that's why I don't do like a lot of hour long things at once, because a lot of the time it's hard to sit through. It takes a lot out of me as a reactor. And like I said, that's kind of what surprised me about this. It doesn't feel like that at all. It doesn't feel like a lot of these other shows. The tone and pacing of it feels pretty pretty good, in regards to the fact that it went by pretty quickly. I never found myself like feeling like it was dragging. I could tell it was definitely an hour long episode. Like, it didn't feel like it was a half hour long necessarily. 22-minute episode like a lot of animation has. But it's still it went by in a way to where it's like, I don't mind that it's taking this time, because there's a lot of different storylines going on at once, and I think part of that is just because there's so many characters. This is a pretty like big cast. We have a crap ton of characters just in this family alone, but then we have the neighbors, we have other characters from the family's jobs and stuff, and just out and about. Certain things like that aren't like resolved in this episode and everything, such as with the bouncer, for example. So it's like, yeah, there are there's a lot going on and a lot of room for them to take this places. Um, I don't know if one of the characters we saw in this, like Lip or Cameron Monaghan's character, I don't know if one of them were the teenager from that clip. Again, it's been a little bit since I've seen that clip that I had seen on TikTok and stuff. I'm thinking it would probably be Lip though. Um, but again, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I did not see the father there at all that I'm thinking of. And I don't think the daughter was in this episode either. It wasn't Joan Rivers' daughter. Or Joan Hughes. I did that earlier too. Why do I think when I say the word Joan, my mind just instantly wants to finish it with Rivers for some reason. But no, Joan Cusack. It wasn't her daughter. Um, at least I really don't think it was. Because it definitely wasn't the same father. That much is for sure. Um, but yeah, very interesting series so far. A lot of really great stuff here. A lot of great character work. Um, I think the only part that actively annoyed me was Lip's initial reactions towards Cameron Monaghan's character um, being gay and everything. He was being quite an asshole. And it does seem like his only issue with him boinking Cash was the fact that Cash is married, which I'm really glad it wasn't a racist thing, and what didn't even seem to be about the gay side of things. It was just because he was married and has kids and everything. Though the entire fake Muslim line and everything did irritate me a lot too. But it's very clear as well that this family is, a dysfunctional, messed up group of people, you know, dealing with a drunk loser of a father, and, you know, like the oldest sibling having to take care of everyone else. I'm kind of wondering something. Let me see if I can find some info here real quick. Uh, geez, I sometimes hate typing on my phone because it's like it tries to auto complete everything for me, and it completes to like weird like half words and stuff. So it's weird. Okay, so hmm. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the ages seem to be kind of around what I was thinking. I was looking up the characters' ages because I just kind of wanted to know what they were going for with that here. According to this, at least in season one, Fiona is 21, which I can definitely believe. She seems like she's right around that age. Lip is 16. Ian is 15. Ian is Cameron Monaghan's character. So they're only 1 year apart. And it definitely made it come across in this episode like they were supposed to be quite close. Like they were, like they're only a year apart. That makes sense. They probably like grew up like hanging out a lot compared to like their other siblings and all. Um, because Fiona's 5 years older than Lip, so it's like yeah, probably not a lot of hanging out there between them. And then Debbie, who is the next one, is 11, so 4 years younger than Ian. So yeah, like Ian and Lip probably were like kind of like best friends in a way growing up, I would guess. But yeah, Debbie is 11, Carl is 9, and Liam is around 18 months old. Okay. So I'm not going to look up anything past that, of course, because possible spoilers about how this series goes in terms of just, I guess, pacing and everything. But yeah, so those are the ages I was thinking about. And I kind of talked about this in the reaction regarding the entire under the table blowy. Teenagers will do stupid shit like that. Teenagers definitely get into sexual situations. They do. Not all teenagers, of course. There's a lot who didn't, myself included, and plenty, um, just in general. I would say most probably don't, but a lot of kids do experiment because that's the age they're starting to think about that. Their hormones are changing, and so yeah, a lot of kids will experiment with that. Um, but that does raise some points I want to make here. Like this girl that they're that Lip is tutoring, like she's maybe a year or two younger, which isn't like that, I guess, bad if she's like what 14, 15, and Lip is 16. That's not really that bad, I guess, in terms of age comparison. But at the same time, it's like then you have Ian who's 15 having sex with an adult man who's married as well. And it's like I understand like part of this is supposed to be showing like just the issues that this family is going through and those around them and everything. Like it's not supposed to necessarily be painting that as right. It's showing that this family is like, getting up to mischief and doing bad things and just, you know, they're troubled. And part of that comes down to the fact that that their father is an alcoholic idiot who isn't taking care of them. And while Fiona is, it's, let's be honest, not enough. Because they know she's their sister. They're not going to take her as seriously as they take, like, as they would an actual parent. And this, I will say, very much builds an automatic. I'll just say hatred for Cash as a character, because this blatantly makes him a pedophile. He is having sexual interactions with a 15-year-old boy. He is a pedophile, and honestly, fuck him. Like, I understand. I'm not blaming Ian. I'm not gonna blame Ian for this. He's learning about and trying to understand his sexuality, and at the same time, he is, let's be honest, probably being manipulated by Cash. And even if he genuinely believes there's something there, it's like, that's just not the case. Because even if Cash's feelings towards Ian are genuine, it's still in every way, shape, and form fucked up. And in every way, shape, and form, Cash deserves and should be imprisoned for this. Again, I'm not blaming Ian. It is not his fault. He's going through a lot of self-discovery, and he's being led down a path that is not one he should be going down, and it's not on him. He's 15 years old. He's very easily influenced. He's clearly, like, unclear about this entire thing. It's so new to him. It's so hard for him to truly understand yet. And it's very clear that this series is going to deal with topics like this. With really tough, harsh topics of kids who are put into terrible situations because of adults around them. And yeah, that can be very difficult to deal with as a viewer. Now, I don't know how old the actors were during this, when this series first came out. But obviously, like, it's acting and whatnot. I could probably find out. But there's still just, knowing the character's age makes it still, uncomfortable. Let me see when Shameless first came out. Okay, January of 2011. So that's the same year I graduated high school. 13 years ago? Yeah. Let me check Cameron Monaghan here. So Cameron Monaghan is 30 years old, which means 13 years ago he was 17. So he was, like, depending on the time of year, like, yeah, he's like 17, 16, 17 when he was in that role. Yeah, he was born only a year after me, but he was born in August, so that takes into account as well. And Jeremy Allen White, who is Lip, is 33, which means he was already an adult when this came out. Okay. So, yeah, it's risky and everything putting like, an actual teenager into that kind of role. Um it gives it in some ways more authenticity than if it were like an adult trying to play a teenager, but it also makes it a little ewy. And I know it's just a role, I know it's the character, I know nothing was actually happening and everything, but still. It's like, I mean, you still have to account for that scene where he's like going to get the stuff and the cigarettes or whatnot, and he sees the neighbor dude just laying there in the bed, dick fully out. It's like this is like a 16, 17-year old kid. It's like, I really, I just get uncomfortable with that kind of stuff, you know. And I get what it's going for. I get a lot of the points of it. It's just it's trying to express its themes and messages and doing a good job at it. But it's like it's like the one thing that's just really bothering me, because luckily Lip did seem to come around in the end, towards the end, so that part doesn't bother me as much as it does like just the certain aspects of this entire situation, especially with Cash. So yeah, um, it's rough. But again, I understand that's the point of this show. I get that. That's very clear. I think I'll be okay to continue watching it if you're worried about that. Um, I don't think it'll get too bad to where it's going to like really be a problem. Though who fucking knows? I mean, we'll see. Um, I guess more accurately would be I hope it doesn't get too bad to where it'd be actually a problem. But yeah, so this series does not shy away from nudity, and it showcases a lot of like characters, even if not showing anything for numerous obvious reasons. It shows characters engaging in sexual actions pretty liberally. And again, I understand the point of why they're doing that. Um, it also deals with violence and other societal issues we see in here. Again, the pacing, the writing, the acting, all of that has a certain flow to it that makes it easy to watch. The production and directing of it is good. Got some great music in there. And I like a lot of the characters. Like, I don't really have many thoughts on the younger kids, but I like the older ones. I like Steve so far. Like, I'm entertained by Frank. I wouldn't say I like him, but he's entertaining from a viewing perspective. Um, the neighbors seem pretty cool and really kinky, and that's fun. Like that shot, like at the opening and everything, where everyone's being introduced, and it shows like that they are very sexually active, and they showcase that by showing them in bondage gear with her pegging him. it's just like, okay, I'm game. It's like it's so like aggressive about it, I guess is a way to put it. It's just like, oh, we're not just going to express the fact that these two, pork pretty damn often. We're going to show that they have fun with it. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm, again, I'm game. Um, yeah, and a lot of the situations in this, it's like nothing felt like too disconnected. Like everything that was happening, it's like they could have easily made it feel like, oh, this plot line doesn't really feel as connected to the story as this other one. Everything's just kind of like thrown in there, but no, it all feels like it blends together really well, and I appreciate that they were able to do that. Now, I said that Mark Mylod, I believe it is, worked on this, and that was the director of The Menu. And if you don't remember me talking about that before, either when I did my reaction to the movie or just since, um, if you didn't know, The Menu is one of the 5 films I consider to be perfect. Out of the well over 1,000 movies I've seen in my life, and I'm saying well over 1,000 because I've cataloged just over 1,000 on Letterboxd, but I know there's more. I'm just not thinking of all of them. But of all the movies I've seen in my life, only 5 I would consider to be perfect. The Menu, Hunger, The Green Mile, The Whale, and my favorite film of all time, 12 Angry Men. The original, obviously. From 57, I want to say. But yeah, so those are my the 5 films I consider perfect, and so yeah, The Menu being one of them. Seeing Mark Mylod's name here, it's like, oh, well, that's promising. And this first episode was promising, even if it did have things that made me very uncomfy in it. But I think that's the point. I think you're supposed to be uncomfortable by that kind of stuff. Because again, we're seeing a very dysfunctional, broken family, um, basically trying to get by. And it's like you see moments of happiness and joy and connectivity there, like at the end when they're having breakfast. But you also see in exactly that same scene, that is just a mask for all the troubles going on in their lives, when it literally shows the fact that Steve has to push aside, or no, I think it's Fiona. One of them. No, no, no. It was Steve because Fiona went to the table first, then Steve came out. Yeah, Steve had to push aside Frank's drunk, sleeping body to be able to sit at the table with everyone else. It's like showing them in this seemingly happy scene, but juxtaposed with the reality of their fucked up situation there. There's definitely a level of black comedy to this series, because it's very clearly got that comedic edge to it, but it's not like trying to be funny. It's more like satire than ha ha humor. You know what I mean? But that scene, like, seeing them all be happy and enjoying breakfast, but then like panning out to show Frank laying there drunk and all. It's like, yeah, that's very clearly supposed to be like darkly humorous, and Mark Mylod, that makes sense because if you've watched The Menu, yeah, kind of the same vibes. It's not like ha ha funny, but it definitely has that black comedy to it, where it's like, oh, this is silly and ridiculous, but it's also darkly silly and ridiculous. It's it's a good blend. Um, I just thought that was really interesting to see his name there. And like I said, I know quite a few of the actors in this. Even if some of them I don't know like necessarily where I know them from, like Emmy Rossum. But like William H. Macy's been in a lot. I've seen him in quite a few things. Cameron Monaghan, as I mentioned, I know him from the likes of the Star Wars games that he was in. Even though I haven't played or seen them, I know he's in them. I've seen a few clips here and there. Plus, he's the Joker in Gotham. Both of them. It was a weird storyline. And then Jeremy Allen White, I think it's the Bear. I think that's the one that's been trending a lot lately that he's in. And people say he looks like a young Gene Wilder, and kind of wish he would have played Willy Wonka instead of Timothy Chalamet. Which I think Timothy Chalamet was perfect, especially after seeing that movie. But I mean, I can agree that he does kind of look like a young Gene Wilder. Especially considering this is, again, 13 years old at this point, this season, at least. He is definitely very young here. And currently, he's basically right around the same age as me. He's like a year older, but still, right around the same age. Um, so yeah, this was interesting. It was well made. There's just like, a couple things about it that are ewy to me. And I'm not going to like hold back my feelings on that. That kind of stuff is really upsettingly gross to me. But again, I understand it's the point. So I'm not like judging the show too hard on it when I understand that, oh yeah, that's very much the feeling you're supposed to get. But yeah, this was definitely interesting. Definitely not what I expected. Though, to be fair, I don't know what I expected from this series. Um, but I'm definitely curious to see where this goes. Um, I mentioned in the pre-thoughts that we might end up taking breaks from this, like mid-season breaks. We'll play that by ear. If I feel like once we get to episode 6, if I feel like I do need a break from this series, then we can take care of that then. But for now, who knows? No clue what I'm going to end up thinking regarding that. So yeah, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Shameless, specifically this being the US version? Let me know your thoughts down below, and for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.